So today I'm going to do an extended playthrough of the Salerno 43 game, which is a Mark Simonich latest release, and I got this just a few days ago, so I'm anxious to get started with it, and I thought the best way to do it would be to play out the extended example of play. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do here. Now, I'm still learning the game and still new at things in general, so hopefully you'll forgive me on any mistakes I make on the moves, but if I do make mistakes, please leave them in the comments below and let me know what I did wrong so that we can get it right for everybody who's watching. So the first thing is the invasion combat phase, and this is where we're going to bring our units offshore onto shore. And as you can see, the game has a setup already, and this is the avalanche scenario setup. We have air and sea units right here. We have a floating reserve which will eventually come in through these beaches. We have a timetable right here, or I'm sorry, a weather table right here, which gives us the weather for each day. Also gives us ally supply points, which are important to use for certain things that fire. The Germans start with 3 supply points. The Allies start with none. Have our turn record base here, and then we have a sequence of play which you can't really see in this shot here, but it's down right below, right just out of range here. So in addition, order of appearance chart, which is off to the left, but for now we'll start moving some cardboard around and seeing what we can do here. So the beginning of this, the game starts with the invasion combat, and the Allied player rolls 1 dice for each invasion unit to see if they get onto the shore. And you check that out on the invasion combat table, which is the invasion combat chart, which is this one right here. And we have Rangers and Commandos are different than Uncle's Beach, because Uncle's Beach was the one that had a little bit of resistance, and then all other beaches. So the first thing we do is we're going to use the Ranger and Commando column, and we're going to make a die roll. And the Rangers got a 3. So when we look on our chart, the Rangers with 3 advance 2. We count the port as 1, and then this would be our second move up the road. Now the objective of the Rangers is to get up this road and hold this pass here. I'm going to leave 1 in the port here so that it takes over that port, and we get credit for that. Now the Commandos are going to want to go into the Vitry-sur-Mer port here, because we want to try and take Salerno right here. So we roll the die, and we get a 4. And we look on our chart, and a 4 is advanced 2. So the Commandos are going to go in here, and that's their first move. And their second move, they're going to do a breakthrough combat against this variable strength unit of the Germans. So in order to see what the defensive factor is, we roll a die, and the roll is a 6. And we look at a combat chart, and a 6 is 2. So it has the best roll possible. So now we're attacking 4-2 or 2-1, but we do get a shift. So there are certain things that cause shifts that allow it to move over 1 column favorable, at least in this case for the Allies. So because we have elite units attacking this unit here, we get a favorable shift of 1, so that makes it a 3-1. Now normally a unit that would be on a city hex would defend at twice its strength, but these units here, variable units, don't get that benefit, so they stay at a 2. So we end up attacking at a 3-1 odds on the combat result table. And it's a 3. 3-1 at 3 is DR2. Come down here to DR2. The defender must either retreat 2 hexes and become disruptive, or conduct a determined defense. The attacker may advance 2 hexes. The unit decides to do a determined defense. And again, we're going to be using this table right here for the determined defense. So using the city column and apply a -D dice roll modifier for a low quality result, we're going to roll the dice. The result is a 3, -1 die roll modifier, so we now have a 2 result. Looking on our table underneath city, a 2 result is a fail. Because this unit does not have a move factor, it is eliminated off the board and goes over to the elimination box. Now the commandos can make their advance, and they advance into Salerno, which they want to do because Salerno is worth 2 points. So you definitely want to take that city. As you can see, we have our unit over here in the elimination box. So now we're going to come on over here to these beaches and work from north to south again. We're going to start with Uncle Beach, which is the British Commonwealth, Sugar Beach, Roger Beach, work our way down to the American side of the map, which is the Red Beach and the Blue Beach. So apparently this river right here separated these two sides, and the Allies really worked more as adversaries when you read up on the history. So it's kind of an interesting history between how they invaded this beach, and it was, although the game doesn't show much in the way of battle, the only one they say that really has a major battle is here. History shows that there was quite a battle going on for a couple days there on this invasion. So let's roll for Uncle Beach now. Uncle Beach is a 3. And because Uncle Beach had some opposition, we use this column right here. So we see a 3 is advance 1. So at least they didn't take a step loss. So we just barely got over that. We got an advance 1. So our units will come onto this beach. Now, this is your beachhead unit, and this stays here on the beach. This means that the beach is open and allows other units from the floating reserve to come on the beach in the next turn. So we'll put these guys on top of that, and we have an armor unit there, which is nice. And now we're going to roll for Sugar Beach. Sugar Beach is a 5. We look at our invasion chart for all other beaches, and a 5 is advance 2. So these units will come on this beach right here and move over and take that airport right there, which again is another objective. So we have control of that airport. So now let's roll for Roger Beach. Roger Beach is a 3. And a 3 is also advance 2. So the units will come here and in one more to this square right here. And of course our beachhead unit will stop right here. Now it's very important to save these units, because if they get killed, then these units here can't come onto that beach at full. Yeah, you get 3 points per beachhead. So they can't come in all, you know, like this one unit here would not be able to come in because it has 3.3 landing points right there. So next one we're going to do is the American Beach, Red Beach and Blue Beach. Red Beach gets a die roll of 6. On our table, a die roll of 6 is advance 2. So 3 through 6 is advance 2. 1 to 2 is advance 1. So we're going to place our beachhead right there onto that beach. And then we're going to bring our other 2 units from Blue Beach right on up here, because they get to advance 2. So now let's roll for, Red Beach. Let's roll for Blue Beach. Blue Beach gets a 4. That's advance 2. So again, our beachhead is going to come right here. We're going to have this unit set up right here to protect that beachhead, and this 4-4-3 unit come here out front to sort of challenge this panzer group right here. So now we start with the German turn, and this proceeds has normal turns now after the invasion phase. So the weather has already been set at A, so that's where it starts, and we start with the German turn 1, and then we have our sequence of play here. So to start out, we roll for weather. Well, we already have the weather there. Ready air and naval units. We don't really have any of those for the Germans yet. Record supply points. We already have 3 supply points given to us by the start of the game. So now we go to the initial phase. We place reinforcements, use replacements, flip artillery support units with supply points. Well, we don't have any, we actually do have some reinforcements, so we will do that. We don't have any replacements, and we haven't used any artillery supply units yet, so we don't need to flip those. So we're going to move our mark to here and then put our reinforcements. So this is our reinforcement sheet, and you see that of turn 1 we have 2 elite units coming on the board. Now what I like about this is it tells you that the movement allowance is half rounded up during this turn, so they can only move half their allowance. This one here comes at 1N and 1S over here, so this comes from the north edge of the board, this one comes from the south edge of the board. So let's place them. Our south edge unit will be coming in right there, and our northern unit will come in right there. There are special requirements on the turn 1 rule. The German movement is all half. So on first turn, half movement, but extended movement and tactical movement are unaffected. So even though the number might be half for the movement, we could take that 3 and we could double it to 6 for extended movement. So we can do that. Now we can move any of these units here. The Germans can attack this beachhead, they can attack this beachhead, they can attack this beachhead. But that might be a little overwhelming for the forces that they have there right now. The German player is going to hold against the British attack here, and they're going to go ahead and actually attack the Americans over on this beach here. So that's the way that the extended example is going to play out. Okay, so the HG Reconnaissance Battalion up here that came in is going to move on down to Nazario Inferior, right here to that city right there. So again, we have the movement, so we have 3. We're traveling along a road here, so we followed this road here. So we have 1, 2, 3. And still in the northern section of the map, we're going to have this unit here move down and block this road from Salerno. So it's going to be right next to them. So rather than trying to hold back the British 46th Division right there, this unit here, this Panzer unit, the 16th Panzer Battalion, is going to fall back. And they're just going to follow this road on up into the mountains right here. But the Panzer Grenadier unit is going to hold in place here in Battipaglia. And this unit here is going to follow this road down next to Ebolia, where it's going to be joined up with this artillery unit is going to move 1 square. Now it's important that it only moves 1, because when it moves 1, that means it can fire and it can add support. So it just moves 1 square here out of Ebolia right there. So he moves 1 square out of Ebolia. So our reinforcement unit down south is given a truck, which we have 2 of these to spare. And this truck is going to give that 6 movement points all total. So we have 3 and 3, so it's going to give it 6 movement points all total. And it's going to follow this main highway here on up. To reach Ebolia. Now again, the main roads are only 1/3 of a movement cost. So these were actually 18 hexes all the way down south. So that gave that quite a bit of movement capability. And that way we have a nice strong unit here protecting this city, which is what we want. We don't want to leave it unprotected. So we want to attack this unit here of Americans. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to move that unit and this unit up 1 to be right next there, and we're going to bring this Panzer unit down right next to it. So these units here are going to attack that unit there, or those units there, I should say. So this Southern Battalion unit of the 79th Panzergrenadier Regiment is going to abandon its position here. And it's going to follow this road all the way around to Filetto. Now it has half movement of 3, but it can use an extended movement to make it a 6. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The reason for that is that this unit, we should protect this area, but this single unit by itself can be overrun by these units here, and there's really no reinforcements yet for this area. So bringing it to the inland here and giving it some protection by the mountains and some distance is going to help make that unit survive. And again, the secondary roads are 1/2 the movement, so that's why our 6 could end up with 12 over here. This variable strength unit we want to bring up, but we don't want to get it too close to within tacking range of these units here. So we do have 5, which is half, down to 2.5, which is 3. So we're going to make a movement here, which is 1/2. That's 1, 2, and then 3. So we'll make our 3 moves there, and that will get us up into the valley a little bit, give us a little perimeter starting here, but still stay out of reach of these guys. This guy we can do nothing about because it has 0 movement there. That concludes our movement phase, so now we're going to move on to the combat phase. Okay, so we only have one attack going on right here, which is these Germans against this American group. So the American group has 6 defense factor, 4 and 2, and the Germans have 5 and 5, so they have 10 attacks. So it's basically 10-6, which becomes 1-to-1 odds. Now, because we have an armor division here, we actually move that up to 2-to-1 odds, and then we have an elite, which moves it up to a 3-to-1 odds. So the German player also is going to elect to flip this artillery unit. Now notice it has 4 range. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's within range. That was the whole idea of moving it forward 1. And because we only moved it forward 1, it's not dispersed. So we will flip it on over and put it in its fire position. So now that has moved the odds up to 4-to-1. Now the Allies don't like that attack ratio, so the Allied player is going to use its American air support over here to bring it down to 3-to-1. So now we have 3-to-1 odds. We're going to roll the die. It is a 4. So we have 3-to-1 odds going down to 4. DR2, advance 2. DR2, the defender must either retreat 2 hexes or become disruptive or conduct a determined defense. The attacker may advance 2 hexes if the defender retreats. So the Allied player is going to announce that they're going to do a determined defense and select his 2-2-3 to be the lead. Now this time he's going to use his naval support here, and we'll put this, now we put this back, we flip this on over to the use side. This is going to provide a +1 to the die roll. And we're going to roll on the clear column of the determined defense table. So here's our roll. It's a 2. Determined defense on 2 with a 3 is a fail. So the Allies must retreat 2. They can retreat back to the beachhead, which stops the retreat at 1. And then we take our ship and we flip it and place it into back in the US support marker, showing that it has been used. Now this unit also is disruptive. The German player can now conduct an advance, which the German player decides to do. It decides to advance with this one and this unit right here. And they're going to do They're going to conduct an advance after combat, which they do. And they're going to do a breakthrough group, which is this right here. And now we're going to do a breakthrough combat on this disruptive unit while they're weak here. So the defense strength of the hex is 5, because you get 2 for the beachhead, and you have 6 there, which is 3, so that gives us a 5 defense. Here we have an attack of 7, so 7 to 5 with a shift in armor here. So 7 to 5 is 1 to 1. The armor makes it 2 to 1, and this elite unit makes it a 3 to 1. So the die roll is a 1. So when we look on our chart, 3 to 1 is an exchange. Exchange, both sides lose 1 step. The unit selected is determined by the opposing player. No retreat for the defender. If the defense had only 1 step involved, then the attacker may enter the vacated hex and stop. Limited advance. So this is good for the Germans, because the Germans are going to select this beachhead right here, because now we've closed off that beach, and this beachhead is going to go over into the elimination box, and the Germans get a point for eliminating that beachhead. The Allies choose to do a step damage to the Panzer. So it goes down to its lower step, its single step, which is not quite as strong. So all in all, that was a very good exchange for the German. Now the other German Panzer unit chooses to move up to that road there. Now this concludes the Germans' combat phase. So now we move down to the recovery phase, where we rally units, remove half replacement markers, which we don't have to worry about. So we don't really have anything to do there for the Germans. We come down here to check supply, conduct isolation attrition, flip artillery support units with supply points. So we do have something to do there. The German flare chooses to use one of its supply points, right here, to flip this fired unit back over. So now this unit is ready to fire during the Allies, or the Allies' turn. Okay, so now we're going to start the Allies' movement phase. So now we start Allies' turn 1. So we remove all of this. We don't have any weather phase, ready air or naval units, record supply points. We don't have any of that this turn. Place reinforcements, use replacements, flip artillery supply units with supply points. We don't have any of that. So we're going to move on to the movement phase. So the Allied reinforcements are these follow-up units that can move on to the beach here and here. These units over here will come in on turn 2 as reinforcements. So the special rule for turn 1 is that Allies are limited to tactical movement. All other things are in place. Tactical movement means that the units don't use their movement allowance or movement points. They move either 1 or 2 hexes. Units with tactical movement may attack in the combat phase, and they must abide by all other rules of movement. Specifically, they stop on entering an enemy zone of control. They can't cross an enemy zone of control bond, and they may not cross prohibited hexes. So up in the north, here, we're going to take and we're going to move these guys over to this port so that we capture both these ports, because these both become ally friendly now. And we're going to move this unit up 1 into the enemy zone of control of this unit here. Now for the British, we're going to take and we're going to move these units 1, 2. These 2 units right here, and their job is to come up and reinforce Salerno. This unit here is going to fan out, because we've learned our lesson. We want to create a border around here to protect that beach unit as much as possible. And these units from the airfield, they're going to move on over here They're going to attack these units in Battipaglia. Now we can take 3 units, 3 points of units to each beachhead. So this beachhead is going to get this unit here, and that's its first move. And its second move is going to come right here. Now, when the units enter this way, they have half efficiency counters put on them. So all 3 of these units are going to come up and help out on the attack on Battipaglia, that unit there. So now the beachhead is free. We'll bring this guy in. Again, he's 3 points, so we're only allowed 3 points at each beachhead. And he also gets a half efficiency tag. That's it for the British units. Now the Americans have to do some shifting around here because we've lost this beach right here. So we can only come in through this beach, which is only 3 points. So this unit here is worth 1. This unit is worth 1. This unit is worth 0. And this unit is 3. So we can either move this unit in or these 3 units in. So we're going to move these 3 units in as what is our decision. So first we want to move our units to get them in place to attack these units and get them out of there. So I'm going to move these off to the side just for a second. These are all our disrupted units here. And we're actually going to move this one up one there. We're going to move this unit up. We're going to bring these units in, and our gun is going to stay right there. As a matter of fact, we'll put all of our disruptive units right there on that beachhead to protect that. We'll put our artillery up on top because that doesn't count any stacking limits. This unit's going to come in, it's going to go right there. This unit's going to come in and it's going to go right there. Now, as we've already learned, our units that come in, they get half efficiency labels. Right, like that. So this is our full movement for the Americans. Now this particular one here, this can go back up into the reserves and come in on turn 2. Now the Americans can bring units in here. They can also bring them in on these beaches here if they want. When they bring them in on here, instead of it being half strength efficiency, they come in as disrupted. So that's a decision the Allied player is going to have to make later on. The Allied player now enters the combat phase. So our first combat is going to be the 56th Division, the main assault force with the independent tank battalion here. They're going to attack this unit in Battipaglia. So the odds are 13-6. So we have 3 defense, plus the city doubles that, so they have 6. We have 8 here, and we have 5 here. So that's 13. So that gives us a 13-6 or 2-1 odds here. So the Allied player is going to use his air strike, his air support, to make it a 3-1 because we had a 2-1 with 13-6. We're going to make it a 3-1 here. Roll the die. It's a 3. 3-1 on 3 is DR2. The defender must either retreat 2 hexes and become disruptive or conduct a determined defense. The attacker may advance 2 hexes, the defender retreats. So they're going to do a determined defense, and they're going to use their nearby artillery right here. So this is going to fire again to add support there. The combined modifier is a +2. So we'll roll a die. It is also a 3. So 3 is modified to a 5, which we're in the city. So we have P. P is partial success, or lose 1 and hold. Defender holds. So the unit, the air unit, is used up. He takes a step loss to hold the ground in Battipaglia and firmly hold that, which is not a good thing for the British. The aircraft gets flipped to its U side, and we will put it back out to sea. So now we'll come down to the 36th Division, giving their full assault onto that square, hoping they're going to do a little better. So the tank and the tank destroyer battalions that just landed are marked with half efficiencies. So that are these units right here, have half efficiencies. So we have 1.5, which is 2, so we have 4, we have 8, and we have 9. 9 to 5. So 9 to 5 with a shift of the artillery, because what we're going to do is we're going to fire this artillery. So 9 to 5 is a 1-to-1, because it's not quite 2-to-1. But we're going to fire this artillery here, shift it on over to a 2-to-1 odds. So let's see what the dice say. We get a 6, much needed. 2-to-1, a 6. Attacker and defender lose 1. The attacker loses 1 step. The defender must either conduct a retreat 2 hexes and become disrupt, or conduct a determined defense. The attacker may advance 2 hexes. So the German defender loses 1 step and retreats 2. So he's already lost a step on that. He wants to keep that. So the German is going to lose a step here, and that unit becomes disrupted. The Allies advance 2. The Allies advance 1 here. And these units are actually going to advance into there. Gotta be careful. This unit, I forgot, had to take a step loss. So this unit will take a step loss right there. That concludes our combat phase. So now we're going to move to our recovery phase, which is rally units, remove half efficiency markers, and then we will check our supply phase. So in our rally phase, we're going to take off these half efficiency markers. And because there's no enemy units next to these units here, this disruptive comes off. Now our units, because we don't have any points yet, our units that have fired all stay as in the fired position. So all the Allies are supplied with their line reaching the beach. All of them are supplied. All the German units are supplied with their lines reaching to the edge of the boards, both north, south, and east. So this is going to conclude the Allied player's turn and turn 1 incomplete. So we're actually going to start turn 2 now. So now we have the Allies firmly ashore, but we're going to have a heavy buildup of German reinforcements coming in on turn 3 and 4. So there might be some heavy counterattacks coming. So hopefully we can get more people on shore and defend the ground that we've already covered and keep on advancing in. So that concludes the extended play, the extended example of play in the book. Now I may continue this on turn number 2 and move forward. I definitely want to keep playing this game, so I think I will. So when I do that, I will make sure I have some recording of it so that all of you can watch if you're so interested. Please do give the channel a like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching this one.